Morning, everybody. In 1605, early 1600s, there was a lot of tension in Britain, particularly toward the king. And Guy Fawkes was a fellow involved in what was known as the Gunpowder Plot, a plot to actually blow up Parliament. And it was on this date, November 5, in 1605, that he was arrested. The Reformation began in Germany around 1517 and soon spread throughout Europe. And it did cross the English Channel up to England. So Henry VIII initially was Roman Catholic, but eventually he split from the Catholic Church, started the Anglican Church. So when his daughter Elizabeth became queen, one of her big issues was the unity of her kingdom, because there were many people who were still loyal to the Pope and to the Roman Catholic Church. So Elizabeth issued a decree in 1560 that everyone had to swear an oath of loyalty to the monarch as the head of the church. And many Roman Catholics in England didn't like this, and they continued to practice in secret. And this was a pretty big deal. There were a lot of people not loyal to her. Now, her second cousin, Mary Stuart, also known as Mary Queen of Scots, was seen as perhaps an ally by the Roman Catholics, but Elizabeth had her executed, and that's a complicated story. So James VI was the King of Scotland. He became James I, the King of England. He's the James of the King James Bible. And it was very clear who would be next in line when James was king. And this was kind of a relief for the English, because Elizabeth had had no children, her dad had had many wives, and so on and so forth. So in continental Europe, there's a lot of tension between Protestants and Catholics, and the Dutch, who were Protestant, were revolting against the Spanish, who were Catholic. And things were pretty grim in France, too, where there were just tons of violent acts between Huguenots, who were French Protestants, and the Catholics. And this reached its high point, I guess, in 1589, when Henry III of France was assassinated by a member of what was known as the Catholic League, which was supported by the Spanish and by the Roman Catholic Church. And it wasn't long after that that a Jesuit wrote this book in which he claimed that regicide, the killing of a monarch, was justifiable in certain cases. And this made James up in England really nervous. So in 1604, James I banished all the priests from England. So this increased the tension between Catholics and Protestants. Now, even today, the Brits have a thing called the state opening, where the members of the House of Lords and the Commons and the monarch all gather together in one place. And the Gunpowder Plot was to blow up that meeting and perhaps have Elizabeth Stuart become the new queen. And this was kind of far-fetched, but it was what people were talking about. And the main guy was this guy, Robert Catesby, or Catesby. He was a real high-profile figure. People knew him. He had lots of followers. And he cooked up the Gunpowder Plot. So here you see some of the members of the Gunpowder Plot, and who they were and why they were involved is quite a story. But third from the right, you see who we know as Guy Fawkes, and his job was to put the gunpowder in the right place. Now, the Houses of Parliament then were much more disorganized than they are today, and Fawkes was supposed to put gunpowder in what was known as an undercroft, an open area underneath Houses of Parliament, and at the appropriate time set it off. But the group was kind of leaky. The authorities found out about it, and on this date, November 5, 1605, Guy Fawkes was arrested, and he and the other conspirators were later executed. So today is Guy Fawkes Day. It's a big day in England, big parties and fireworks, much different than what it was initially when it was kind of anti-Catholic, and inspired these masks that you know from movies and TV and public demonstrations, a reminder that the past is really not that far, from the present.